karma is, if we're in the past and future, we are just reactive to what's, spiraling in between the positive and the negative, and however far down that scale we might be. We're just reacting to it. And that's what karma would be. It's just cause and effect that needs to be corrected. And when we come into alignment and we come into unity and oneness and we're embodying soul, that's when the karma goes to dharma. And dharma is now where you're consciously co-creating with the all as a creator being, and you become the creator in a sense. Hey there, Alex here. Welcome to another video. This is a part 2, talking a bit more about how to get ourselves into a nice, perfect oneness and unity so that we can live the life that we are desiring, this being a form that is called a Merkaba, or a star tetrahedron, that represents basically our masculine and feminine energies in perfect balance and coherence. And that structure is what brings us up to our creatorship, our ability to be tuned in completely with soul, and to be able to create and extend from those higher dimensions into the third dimension, here into the physical form, and into manifestation, the life that we want. Okay, so pretty cool. It's pretty darn cool. So I just want to talk a little bit about this journey and what it really looks like, because again, the Hermetic Principles, if you look at the law of polarity, positive and negative, the negative polarity is the feminine, the positive is the masculine. The feminine would be considered the emotions, the feeling, okay, or the body also. So that would be this, the gross physical, okay, but it's also part of the mind. They're all together, but for the most part, we're looking at the body and the feeling, which would be the feminine, and then the masculine being the mental, the logical, the thinking mind, and that would be considered the subtle. And then the causal is, again, your soul or spirit. And so as we work with the polarities of feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking, which are going to flow with the law of rhythm and vibration and correspondence, we are going to be basically moving slowly up, spiraling between these polarities that keep that energy in motion, emotion. And as we are having emotion, energy in motion, we are using the mind to either decide whether this is good or bad, or whether I like it or I don't like it, or it's hot or cold, or up or down. So in this deciding, we also create separation, because that's a separation consciousness, and we create feelings based on, or emotions, okay, energy and motion, but the feelings that we're feeling, we give them meaning by making these decisions. So let me give you an example. So you walk outside and it's really, the sun is shining really bright, and you feel your body getting heated up. So you decide in that moment, because you're feeling the body, the feminine is feeling the heat. You use the mind, and then you decide it's really hot out. I don't like how hot it is. Okay, so you're deciding that it's hot, number one, and then you're deciding that you don't like it, which then gives you an emotion feedback. Okay, you've used the mind, and now you're giving yourself a feedback loop that says, I don't like being outside today. I don't want to be outside today. This is really bumming me out. It's too hot. So you're going from what is to, let me give it some meaning, and then that meaning is now creating an emotion that you then can have a rejection to, or what have you. So this is kind of a really basic example of how we create suffering for ourselves because of the meaning that we're giving things. So we have an experience in the physical world, then we use the mind to decide something about it, and then that creates a feedback loop, and then we generate more of that. Okay, and then so this is how the masculine and feminine, and very, very basically work. I don't want to get super complex here. So when you see that, you realize, well, wait a second, I can actually back things up a little bit. If I can allow the feeling of the feminine and not have that get super distorted, and then go to the mind and just recognize, oh, it's just a warm, it just feels warm today, and not make more judgment on it, not adding the judgment to it, that's where you can be in your own harmony with what is, in acceptance of what is. And that really is the ticket to reintegrating, is learning to feel the feeling, accept what it is, and then continue to move forward. That's what's going to start to bring you up this spiral. Now, when we are wounded, the wounded feminine, for instance, let me grab my scale of consciousness if I have it somewhere. Oh, I don't have it handy, do I? Maybe I can use this one. This one's a little bit too big, but I think it's important anyways, just to show this. The wounded feminine is going to be, when it comes to the emotion, typically pulls into herself, right? She's going to pull in and take responsibility for, I say she, I don't mean, this is not a masculine, it's not a male female kind of a thing. It's not really a gender. I just mean this in terms of the energies. The feminine energy is going to be more people pleasing, very empathic, is going to feel more of the guilt and taking on the extra responsibility for things, worthlessness, things like this, where the emotions are turned inward towards the self, whereas the masculine, more mental, often will push out and push away and try, so they'll get more angry, they'll be desirous, and they would want to control more and get frustrated and projecting. So again, this doesn't matter. We all have all of these energies, but they are very different in the way that they work. So even narcissism and empathic natures would be similar in the sense that they both have a wounded nature to them in terms of not feeling worthy or good enough or what have you, but they're dealing with the situation in a different way. One of them is going to be much more taking everything on, being really empathic, let me fix, let me make you feel better, let me serve you, that kind of thing. Whereas the other is taking and wanting to control and manipulate and take and get everything from the other. And so there's a synergistic toxic, kind of a thing that's going on there, but that could be happening at a very low scale where we're not talking clinical narcissist or empath, but definitely narcissistic behavior that's counterbalanced with a somewhat empathic nature. And this is going to be so much of the relationships that you see in the world are going to be some sort of a balance between these two energies, which is a polarity, which pulls them together, keeps them together, whether it's toxic or not. So as we start to recognize these things and we start to see the wounded nature, and you see that by looking at how you feel, how wounded or not that you are, if you're feeling despair or shame or anger or pride, or just fear in general, these are all fear-based energies, then you know that you're operating somewhat on that scale of woundedness, right? And it's a lower frequency, and the manifestations are just not going to work out the same way. They generate thoughts and feelings that are distorted from the truth. That's why they don't feel good. Anything that feels, where you feel a closure or a pain in any of the, especially any of the energy centers, they're usually the lower ones or the heart. When you feel that contraction, it's basically you're out of alignment with how source or the creator sees things, your higher self, right? These are all just levels of the same oneness and the same creator, just you can call it on all different levels, that is basically pointing you to say this, you're out of alignment with what's in your highest and best here. And so long as you're not present to it and you're looking at the past and you're anxious about the future, then you're not going to be able to work with the energies, which I'll do in the third video here, as easily. You're not going to be able to alchemize and turn that fear into love and raise your frequency in that process and move yourself up that scale into the courage and the willingness and the joy and the peace and the love that is your natural wholeness. So we have to remove all of the ways that we've seen things and acted in the physical body and in the mind, that and become aware and conscious and bring them to light in order for them to shift and move out, basically to alchemize back into love, opening space for more truth to shine forth and through you. That is awakening to oneness. That is awakening to your Christ nature. And that again is where we're moving to reside in the heart. And that heart center is where spirit and body meet. This is the new age that we're heading into. And yes, we're in it. We're in it. And we're watching. As, by the way, as you move up that scale, the more awareness you can see, that's what the consciousness is awareness. The more you move up the scale, the more you're able to see what's really happening, what's going on from a higher and higher perspective. Not better, nothing, there's no judgment here of best or better or worse. That would be separation consciousness, just a broader perspective of what's going on, so you can have more compassion and understand that this is all just one being experiencing itself and moving into a new realm, and the whole being of this planet and the universe is shedding it's shedding its crap, just like we are, in order to come to a new age. And that's what happens when the entire solar system is going around the central sun, and we're moving more into the light right now. So the shadows are just being shown on every level, as above, so below, and then from within, without, in our own personal universe. I want you to, let me just close it with that too. I want you to kind of get a sense of that. As above, so below would be as the soul, so the body, but then as within, so without would be from the body as a creator, because you are a creator being, and what you create and project into your own universe. Okay, which is your own experience of it all. So I want you to see it kind of like that. As above, so below, as within, so without. And then again, we're working with polarity and with vibration and with energy all the time, cause and effect. Karma is, if we're in the past and future, we are just reactive to what's, spiraling in between the positive and the negative, and however far down that scale we might be. We're just reacting to it. And that's what karma would be. It's just cause and effect that needs to be corrected. And when we come into alignment and we come into unity and oneness and we're embodying soul, that's when the karma goes to dharma. And dharma is now where you're consciously co-creating with the all as a creator being, and you become the creator in a sense. And that would be when you step into your dharma. And so anything unlike that has to be removed. Just like when you plant a seed, the first thing that comes up is all the dirt, not necessarily the sprout. Okay. So if you're wanting a better life, if you're looking to move forward, these are concepts that when they start to click, that are going to start to bring you more present and aware to what's happening in the moment and how to handle that moment, so that you can continue to move up that spiral, continue to connect more and more, and reactivate this spirit light vehicle here, the Merkaba, your masculine, feminine principles in balance, in unity, to get to that unity consciousness. Okay, so we're going to go into a part 3. Again, my name is Alix, and some of the work that I do is energy work, but specifically I use mind maps and magnetics, and of course I work with your subconscious. But what I'm mining out are the feminine emotions that have been trapped, that are literally trapped in the body. I also help to mine out full belief systems, negative beliefs, negative core beliefs, faulty beliefs, and so on, and negative programs that are literally like the operating system of the mind, of the masculine, that are creating the stories. So when something happens, creating the story that then creates the emotions that get trapped, and so on. And all of this creates imbalances and misalignments and so on in the body itself, and creates illness and dis-ease on every level. Okay, emotionality, mental issues, and then of course the body. So I decode and mine out the very specifics of your body using these mind maps, thousands of mind maps, and then overwrite them, literally transmute them back into love. That is the energy work that I do. And it's fascinating. So if you want to learn a bit about that, check that out below. In a way, it's kind of a hack to kind of get things rolling. But one of the big things about it that's so important, and that I just want to make sure I share here, and I'll share it every once in a while here and there, because it is so profound, is that as we're moving into the heart chakra as a residing place, as a species, the heart itself has been, in a sense, has a bunch of barnacles, if you will, of trapped emotions that have been pulled in from the body and literally creating a wall around the heart that makes it very difficult to open and keep that heart open. And so that's one of the things that I really am passionate about doing, is helping to take this heart wall down. 93% of the population has a heart wall. It's not difficult to take down, but it is profoundly helpful, especially as you are consciously trying to bring yourself into this next phase of unity, higher frequency, higher vibration, higher manifestation. And this is going to be your ability to heal yourself, and of course to have the abundant, beautiful, joyful, peaceful life that you're looking for, regardless of what's happening around you. Okay, and to be able to then move into the world in your dharma and be able to help create the new world that is clearly at hand, to be that's disassembling right now, that's we're at the same time being recreated. So this new earth. So yeah, if you want to come along for that ride instead of the suffering ride, then stick around. Make sure that you subscribe. And in the next video, I'm just going to talk day to day how to do this balancing, what it looks like, so that you can start to get into that groove. Thanks so much.